true that there's something about walking that increases our quality of thought. And I think that this is kind of underlying JFK's thinking too. He studied classical Greece and classical civilizations and found that they made very explicit the link between bodily excellence and mental excellence. The original schools in ancient Greece had a much better balance, I think, of physical education and the more intellectual pursuits. And if you start your day with vigorous exercise, you're going to have a much better time internalizing whatever you're trying to learn. You're more focused. And so sadly, with PE programs on the chopping block, we think that we need to just sort of force feed our kids more information to get them caught up after this whole fiasco of shelter in place and school closures. But I think it's going to backfire if cutting PE is just going to lead to even more unruly and hard to educate kids.
Absolutely. Yeah, that separation between the body and mind is one of the oddest and most destructive aspects of the way we view our place in the world. And walking is the best movement practice. It's the best exercise. I love long walks, 90 minutes to 3 hours. Something really magic happens when you just go for that long of a walk. It's deeply meditative for me. And also there's a time in my life where I was just listening to massive amounts of audiobooks and podcasts, and I would just go on these long walks and listen to this audio content on 2x and just learned an enormous amount about the world at a time when I was very confused and frustrated at my place in it. I think a lot of people view hiking as this thing that they have to get in the car and drive somewhere to do, but you can just walk out of your door and walk for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And it's really similar to something that you'd experience on a hike, unless you live in a really rough neighborhood. But I love walking, and I'd like to see more, walkers out there just engaging in long walks. It's such a beautiful practice.
Yeah, it's true. And you mentioned, unless you live in a really rough neighborhood, and it is unfortunate that the way that our world has evolved with freeways and kind of the wrong side of the tracks phenomenon, like not everyone does have the best routes immediately accessible. But there's this quote I like when I was putting together this guide for how to walk more efficiently. I was just looking for little inspirational quotes to weave in and out. And one of them was Werner Herzog, the filmmaker, who said, "The world opens itself up to those who travel on foot." And I feel like, the map of our world suddenly gets bigger. It's like in video games, how when you first start the game, the map is really small. And then as you get more kind of tools, like it gets bigger and more interesting. And that's been true in my experience. Like I've gotten to know the areas that I've lived quite well and come to appreciate them, both in terms of the natural environment and just being able to actually navigate, without using Google Maps, based on a more kind of intuitive faculty. But that idea of the universe opening itself up, like funny things happen when you decide to go on foot.